Always. If you got that, then you know we're talking Harry Potter, and you love my impressions. I'm Joe Starr. This is Screen Junkies News. Always remember it's the words Severus Snape said to Harry. Never mind. Hey guys, it is the anniversary of the Battle of Hogwarts. According to the Wizarding calendar, 19 years ago today, the battle to end the Second Wizarding War was waged, but the loss of life was staggering. And as has become her tradition, J.K. Rowling has issued an apology for one of the characters' deaths. This time, it's none other than Hogwarts potion master Severus Snape. Here to talk with me about this are two other Slytherins, Mark and Draco and Yale Teagle. How good is my Snape impression, first of all?
No.
Not very.
Fine, I'm leaving.
But I'm going to talk like Dolores Umbridge the whole time.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Let's not.
Let's do that. So
I regret being here.
that's the first sensible thing that's been said in this room today. Yale, why is J.K. Rowling apologizing for Snape's death? Does she owe us this? Is she being goofy? What is she doing?
I feel like she's apologizing because it was a death that was sad. I don't know. I don't think she should be apologizing for any of the deaths, right? Like, that's how stories go. You tell a story, people die in wars. I think it's fine. I don't need an apology.
Yeah, we're good.
I need an apology for
this.
Alan Rickman's death. That's the apology I need.
And I think JK is the one that owes us that.
Absolutely.
So is she just sort of a master troll, or I don't know, what do you think?
I don't know. I think that she loves these characters like they're her own kids. That's why she's so involved in every permutation of them. And I think she might regret it on an emotional level because she has attachment to these characters. But I think he had to die. I think it's a perfect full circle moment. For these 7 books, we all think he's this evil guy. Then we find out his heart was broken. And now he's paid his debt to Harry for rejecting all that sort of unused love and all that anger that he had towards Harry's mom. I think it makes sense. It's poetic. That's why his death was important, because she feels the need to apologize. If we didn't care, then it's just so much Cordwood. It's like a background character in a Schwarzenegger movie. But we miss him. We miss him.
I miss Jesse Ventura from Predator.
I miss those 5,000 people in Commando.
So this is not the first. This is probably the biggest death apology, but it's not the first one. She's apologized for Fred Weasley. She's apologized for Remus Lupin. So yeah, why does she? Is it because she's sort of almost a fan in a way, and she sort of processes and feels these deaths the same way that we do? Or?
Well, I think a lot of it, you mentioned the death of Alan Rickman. I think Alan Rickman brought this character so specifically to life. I mean, he looks exactly like, even before I saw the movies, I'm like, oh.
Alan Rickman's
exactly who this character is.
Yeah.
So I think there might be a lot of emotion tied up in that for her, because this guy was not only an immense talent and her friend, but brought one of her characters to life. So now that he is gone, we're never going to see more Snape in film or in live action. So I'm sure there's lots of complicated emotions there. You know how your writers get when you're writing characters and that you fall in love with them. You don't want to do bad things, but you're obligated to. Otherwise, it's not, we don't want to see Harry Potter sitting around having crumpets for 7 books.
Right.
Bad stuff needs to happen, so we appreciate the good stuff. So I get where she's coming from, but I don't think she owes us an apology. I think the books would be less if Snape was still alive.
I think that deaths in stories, especially significant characters that we love, is necessary. And if they're done right, then we as fans can accept them. When you kill off a character we love and it helps the story and their death was meaningful and it wasn't a stray bullet, it was something that matters. And I think that is okay. And I don't feel like she needs to apologize for this one. Fred Weasley, I think she should apologize. I think that was the right thing to do, because that did not have the same effect.
But there were 2 of them, so why not?
Two of them,
the Weasley and the Spare. They were identical, right? So yeah.
Yeah, screw it. We see a lot of filmmakers and actors and stuff like that who are super strong on social media. I'm going off script. I just thought of this in my head. This is probably, JK is probably the highest profile writer who is so active.
Who actually does her own tweeting, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, on social media. How do you guys think that sort of enhances a book reading experience. With the movies, we go see Guardians and we immediately tweet to James Gunn. She's really the sort of the leader in terms of doing this with literature.
Well, she's super smart because I think she realizes, I mean, at the height of the Harry Potter phenomenon when they were being published, you'd see 5- and 6-year-olds and their parents lined up at midnight to buy books.
Or me. Yeah.
Or me. Well, yeah, me as well, until a restraining order came out. And then you see these things where
that Barnes & Noble will never be the same.
These people, there's generations who took ownership of these characters, and to be able to share that experience with her makes them feel like they're part of the Harry Potter family. And it's a great way for her to see, wow, my work has really affected so many people. It's a win-win situation thing because she also doesn't suffer fools. I love when people throw politics shit, or when the Dumbledore gay thing, people are like, that's wrong. She's like, go away.
Yeah.
Saw it off, she's great.
Yeah.
So I think it's a win-win relationship. I think she does social media better than almost anybody on that level of celebrity.
Yeah, agreed. So which deaths affected you guys the most? Obviously, not a lot of Fred Weasley fans at the table.
I would have said Dumbledore, but I had that ruined for me, so it wasn't.
Oh, that's
so
a bad
I was
thing
like,
to ruin.
there he goes. But Dobby, I remember watching that and being like, what? Why would we kill him? Why would you do that? The poor guy, he was a slave, and now he's free, and now we kill him.
I do remember hating Dobby, and then. But yeah, when his death happened, I was like, why? Why does this affect me? I hate this weird little hairless cat that talks and is clumsy.
It shows the masterfulness of her as a writer, because she takes things that seemingly are tropes or cliches, like Dobby. Me too. Like Dobby's like cousin Oliver on Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's cute and like socks. Ugh. But then you realize that she's doing so much more with him, that his death is really, really poignant. It's very much the death of E.T., the death of Old Yeller. She gets that. But for me, the death that really just wrecked me was Sirius Black, because that was when I was reading the third book, that was when I was in for the rest of the series, because that twist, and spoiler alert for the 4 people who have not read these books or seen these movies.
Yeah.
She makes Sirius Black, you think he's a bad guy that's coming to kill Harry, and when you find out he's his godfather and has been protecting him.
You think that's the big twist.
That's the big twist, and there's so many twists, and she once again, she's a master, because she takes things that in retrospect, you're like, oh, of course he's not a bad guy, of course, and she makes it feel real. And for me, his death was so sad because of the unspoken things Harry never got to ask him. There was he realized this and had this connection, the last direct tether to his parents, who was honest with him about them. Dumbledore doled out information.
Yeah, Dumbledore was a chess player. Yeah,
and Snape, we didn't find out until his death his true attachment to them. But Sirius Black, it was the last real tether to his parents, that contemporary of them. And there were so many. I remember being so mad when he died. I'm like, but Harry didn't get to ask him this, and that's why it works, because that's what death should be. Death should make you mourn what wasn't said, and that stuff stays with you. And I think it's the most powerful death in the series for me.
So she's owing us apologies for Dobby and Sirius Black.
I don't know. She doesn't owe us any apologies. She doesn't owe us any apologies. The fact that we want apologies means we don't deserve them, because she did the right thing.
Yeah.
We should mourn for these characters. If they die and we don't care, then they weren't interesting when they were alive. They're less interesting in death. These characters all stay with us.
That's what I was saying earlier, is that these deaths meant something and affected the story and moved it. And so her apologies, I feel like, kind of lessen them in a way. Her being like, sorry, I did this thing that made the story so good, it made you love characters. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah, but I do appreciate that they seem genuine rather than sort of fun and trolly.
Oh, I think
this last one felt real trolly.
Yeah, I think she did say like runs away or something like that runs for cover.
But I think she knows the internet. I think the apologies are more her apologizing to herself in ways that, as a writer, she knows she has to do this, but she didn't want to. And she's saying, I'm real. Is from the fan version of her, the person who loves these characters, didn't want these characters to die, but she knew as a writer telling a dramatic story, she had to do it. So I think she's kind of having a conversation with herself on a real meta level, saying, I'm really sorry, I loved Snape too.
As a writer, Mark, have you ever had that moment where you're like working on something on the page and you sort of come to a crossroads of like, I have to do this, like I don't want to? All
the time. I've had to kill characters all the time that I really didn't want them to die, and I knew that was why they had to serve the story. And like we had said earlier, if there's no regret when the character dies, you're not killing the right character, or the character's not real enough. So there should be some pain involved in this, and it gives it poignancy. If there's no bad times and no sadness, you don't appreciate the good times. It just becomes a white noise. And I think that she didn't kill people like Joss Whedon likes to do, just kill people all the time. Joss goes out and says, I'm going to kill somebody in this. And he's great at it, but he kind of embraces the fact that death is a device. The character she's killed, over thousands of pages, there aren't that many characters who died, but the ones that do, we're talking about them all still years after the fact. That's good writing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to your apologies on Twitter. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me talking about this. Internet, we want to know what Harry Potter deaths do you feel you're owed an apology for? Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe here for more Screen Junkies news. Make sure to just sort of be nice to each other in the comments. Harry Potter's always be nice to each other.